they're releasing an exclusive PS5 that has the same color scheme as the original PlayStation, the gray, and then the PS5 logo is the PlayStation logo for the PS1,
Oh,
and the controller has the same color scheme as the
the
PS.
original one.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. But they're only making it digital, and I think there's already like a waiting list.
Welcome once again to the Mike and Mulley podcast, also known as the Top 10 Movie Podcast. I'm Mulley. He's Mike. Mike, what's going on?
What's going on, man? How come we didn't just decide to call it the Mike and Mulley podcast? Sometimes maybe that makes more sense.
Because we fit a certain niche, Mike, and we're trying to put that niche out front. Plus, I think, well, I don't know. It could be argued that Mike and Mulley might be more catchy.
If we just talk about a little bit of everything.
But it also sounds like a CBS sitcom from the mid 2000s that would star like Roseanne Barr and John Goodman.
Well, and I think there's also a Mike and Mike in the morning at ESPN already, so that would be too similar.
Mike and Mulley, we would be like the Odd Couple kind of a situation with us.
That's true.
Right? We'd be living in an apartment. I would be tidy, you would be messy, that kind of a thing.
I am definitely messy. I don't know how you knew that, but I am.
We need to get away from that narrative because we're on the Top 10 Movie Podcast. Right now, you guys know us, you love us, and we've got a brand new list for you today, and one that makes me want to quit my job. Yes, top 10 movies that want to make me quit my job. And, normally you don't need a reason to want to quit your job, Mike. You just, you got to do it. You got to pay the bills.
Well, there's always a reason, though.
But yeah. So, but these are, in particular, some movies that we watched that were like, you know what, I really could use a career change, or maybe even just not even have a job, depending on what kind of movie it was. Mike, so in preparing to make this list, actually, what I'm going to ask you is, when I first presented the idea to you for this, what came to your mind?
Instantly, I was like, no. And only because I was like, you know what? I don't know if I can come up with 10 or 5. By the way, this is a 5 and 5. This is one for them. But I don't even know if I can come up with 10 or 5 movies just off the top of my head. But then I thought, you know what? Let me try to challenge myself and see if I can do it. And if I can't, then I'll just tell you that, hey, I couldn't even come up with 5. And we'll just do like a top 7. I'm sure you'll have 5. I can give you mine too. But there were a couple of movies that I thought of shortly after that thought process.
Yeah.
And then, of course, me, I did most of this list the day of recording. And then I did the rest. And I actually switched out a couple. I kept thinking of others. And I finally got to a definitive 5. So,
okay.
So we do have a 5 for me today.
We might have a couple alternates, huh? Just
yeah,
in case?
maybe. And, it's funny because recently some of my coworkers at my current job discovered I have a podcast. And so,
ooh, hello.
Some of them may hear this episode, so this could be interesting.
Yeah. If Mike's no longer with you guys, it was because of this list. No, there's a couple different ways I was able to take this, Mike, a couple different directions. At first you would think, okay, well, there's probably going to be a movie that makes having a job feel so unappealing that you're just like, oh, the drudgery of it. And there are some of that's on the list. But also there's some movies that are inspirational. That could make you want to, you know what? I'm not doing what I need to do in my life or what I really want to do. I need to strive for something different or something better or something more passionate about. So there's a whole other angle when it comes to why it makes me want to quit my job. Is it because the job's terrible, or is it maybe because I want to strive for something better or different? And it inspires me. And this movie in particular did that to me, or maybe it just took the wool off my eyes and made me see, what kind of drudgery my job really is. So these movies for me did a little bit of everything. I got a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of drudgery, and a little bit of fun. And we hope that you guys enjoy this list. Because I think one common thing that everyone that has a job can agree on pretty much, that 90% of us probably want to quit our jobs if given the opportunity. So a movie doesn't necessarily have to nudge us in that direction. But if it makes us feel like, you know what, I need to move on or get going on a different path, movies certainly can do that for us. Right?
Facts.
Cool. What's the first one on your list, Mike? What's the first one that came up for you?
And I think this is probably on both of our lists.
Oh.
So here we go. But this is Office Space.
Yes, it is.
I think this will be on anybody's list. But if you've seen this movie, it's iconic, classic, 1999, and I guess depending on whatever website or whoever you ask, some people say this was filmed in Dallas, some people say it's filmed in Austin. But either way, it was filmed, I say, locally in Texas.
Yeah.
And it it's probably one of the greatest depictions, if not the greatest depiction of what mundane corporate office life looks like.
Yes.
Even to this day, I've been in the corporate arena for 8 years, and office space, scarily enough, that was 25 years ago. It still hasn't changed much in terms of what the offices looks like. One of the benefits of corporate life now is we have this whole hybrid schedule where you work 2 or 3 days from home and 2 or 3 days in the office.
Must be nice.
That's kind of span out of the whole COVID situation,
Yeah.
and it's nice to work from home in the comfort of, at least for me, my bed. I've worked with coworkers over the years. In the last 2 or 3 years, when they do the hybrid, they actually have a dedicated workspace, like they have a house or a separate room in their apartment. They have a desk and extra monitors. For me, it's my bed. I'm in my pajamas, and this is my one laptop. And I try to keep it as minimal as possible, comfortable as possible, and I actually do my best work at home. No distractions. I actually don't like when people can just walk up to you and ask you a question because they see, oh, he's just right over there. I'll just go walk over and ask him. Yeah, sure. Just come interrupt my workflow of what I'm doing. They just distract me all over again because that can happen all throughout your 8 hour shift, right?
We are so different.
I know you. I don't. Have you ever had a corporate job? Actually, I don't. That's a good question.
Yeah, multiple.
Okay.
And I think I've worked from home and I've worked in an office, and I find that I have way more distractions at home. I mean, the distraction of just wanting to click over to go YouTube or go check my social media or go do something else while it's so tempting. I think mainly because I don't have a separate office space and a home space. And when they're one and the same, it's so easy to get distracted. If I had an isolated space in my home that I just did saw as an office and eliminated distractions within that space, yeah, I think it would be a lot easier. But then that's just like, might as well just be in an office.
Right.
And I never found the people around me necessarily to be the distraction when I was at work. Maybe because if it was a distraction, it was a welcomed one. I wanted that social interaction to pull me from the drudgery of my work. So oftentimes the parties, the office parties, the birthday celebration, the office gossip, going to grab some coffee or something to drink, getting something out of the vending machines, even going to lunch. They were all mini vacations for me to get away from work. And that's how I approach those things myself. So those were all welcome distractions. Now, all that being said, probably my most favorite job that I ever had in an office setting was working in broadcast news. And I worked the overnight, so I didn't have a boss. I was pretty much for the first 4 hours by myself. And
One of the best feelings in the world as a job.
yeah, and there was nobody else. There might have been one person in the building, and they were on the other side of it. So it was pretty much I had the building to myself for the first 4 hours or so, and that's the best office corporate job I've ever had. But I've had them. I've actually worked for a Fortune 500 company before in their human resources department, and I think for the last 3 or 4 jobs that wasn't working at home, it was in a cubicle. And this movie in particular, the the whole decorating your cubicle to try to make it feel, I don't know, a little bit more livable.
Like lived in, yeah.
Yeah, that's and then when he unscrews that end of his cubicle to like see out the window.
You're jumping ahead to when Peter, the character's already been kind of brainwashed. But the part that makes me want to quit my job and why this is on my list is because the first half of this movie basically perfectly depicts why some people look so down upon corporate life, especially when you're at the bottom. You're not a CEO, you're not a CFO, you're not a CIO. By the way, I'm trying to figure out there's like 8 different C something O's in these corporations. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's so
but
many meaningless titles.
there are. But for people like me who are just they're basically called entry level, you're stuck to a cubicle. That's your world, and there's different variations on what cubicles look like depending on the company and the layout. And I've seen my fair share of different types. I actually prefer my own little cubicle that has all dividers. Like, leave me alone, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I want you to look over. If you have a question, I don't want you to just look over and tap me on the shoulder. You means you're too close. I still want safe social distancing in the workplace. And
You just need an office, man. That's what
I
you
did an office.
You need an
What a nice
office.
view. You know where my office is? In my apartment when I get to work from home. No, but this movie perfectly again depicts like the mundane life of a cubicle worker having to deal with people, multiple bosses, letting you know you made a mistake about how you didn't fill out your TPS reports correctly.
You put the cover page on the TPS
The
report.
cover page. You know we're doing the cover
Did you
page
get
on the
that
TPS.
memo
You get
about
the memo. Yeah, the multiple emails, the passive aggressiveness in some of these emails is internally is insane. I've seen my fair share of that. The coworkers who annoy you simply because of the way their voice sounds when they answer the phone. It's the bosses that are always trying to make you work extra.
It's like somebody's got a case of the Monday.
And let me tell you, I have a case of the Mondays, Monday through Friday, 1,000%.
Wait a minute. If I get the sense just knowing you, and through our friendship, that everybody would love to work with you because you're Money Mike. Everybody likes Money Mike. But you don't, the funny thing is you don't feel the same way.
You just unlocked it, right? You unlocked the code, cracked the code.
Everybody likes you, but you don't like everybody.
You know what? I guess it's taken me 8 years to get to this point to realize, you know what? You're right. I'm a lovable person to be around. Everybody
Yes,
knows me.
but you hate the way a person talks.
I mean, listen. I'm not gonna say any names, but there are certain people. It's just the
Good
frequency
Lord.
that their voice resonates on.
Yeah.
It's like if you could talk less.
And you only see him 2 days a week?
Yeah. No, but we have team meetings too. So if we have team meetings
Yeah.
and you like to speak up in the team meeting, which that is for a different podcast. That's the off mic on mic rant coming soon.
Yeah.
But no, I want to hear your side because it's on your list too. So let's
Yes.
talk about why you have it on your list.
For the exact same reasons. Now, this is a Mike Judge film. That's why Texas is so prominent in it. But this is the guy who directed one of my favorite films, Idiocracy. That's a film that not a lot of people know about. He directed that, wrote that, Extract. But he's mainly known for Beavis and Butthead as the creator of that cartoon. And look, this is a movie that originally at the box office, it only made $12 million. It was not a hit at the box office. And it found its legs in the post box office era, the huge on VHS, DVD. And that's where it really got discovered. And it has become a cult classic since. For anyone that's ever struggled with that kind of corporate environment, it speaks directly to those people like me and you. Anyone who's ever struggled with a printer and wants to go and bash that thing in the middle of a field.
If I could tell you how many times I had to go when I used to actually print stuff off and the printer was always out of paper. How can you be out of paper when you hold 1,000 sheets every time I go to print something?
Yeah, or there's a paper jam and it's a huge machine, and there's 50 different secret compartments to try and find it.
Well, there was that one scene where
Or changing the toner.
one of my favorite characters in the film, Samir, and can you pronounce his last name? Do you know it?
Samir, not gonna be here anymore.
Well, there's a scene where he goes to print something out, and it's gives the error paper jam, and he's like, "There is no paper jam. There is no paper jam." Because
We're doing it.
no, that's his accent. If you've seen the movie, you know Samir is not American, and he has the accent, which is funny because I've heard that actor in real life, and he speaks
Perfect.
perfectly English. But
Gotcha.
he talked about the secret compartments of a printer.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a corporate size printer that's like 3 foot tall.
Yeah.
And like
Bigger than that.
yeah, there's gonna be all these multiple trays. You gotta check all the trays, and then it's like an old school NES cartridge. You blow in there to try to get all this stuff particles out, and it still says you got a paper jam. I hate it.
And we're showing our age a bit here because I don't even know if they use printers anymore. I mean,
Oh no! Just the other day, I texted my cousin, and I was like, "Hey, some joke about a fax," and she completely looked over the joke and was like, "Who faxes anymore?" I was like, "Yeah, you're right. That was a dated joke. My bad."
Yeah, actually, I had to fax something, which was the weirdest thing. I had to fax something. I don't know, a few years ago. Ended up just using a website
Hmm.
that would fax it for you if you just send them a PDF. You just send the PDF to them, that site, and upload it, and they would fax from that. It was so weird that's how now I have to fax because who has a fax machine anymore? But anyway, all that being said, Office Space from '99, you had mentioned. Um, Probably the best thing I've ever seen Ron Livingston in. Also, a young Jennifer Aniston is in this movie. Gary Cole plays an excellent boss that is so mundane and yeah, I'm gonna need you to
He's one of
come.
those bosses. Everybody's had one, whether it's corporate or otherwise. That all they do is walk around making sure you're doing your job and watch it,
Yes,
micromanaging.
every supervisor in that movie is doing that.
And a big
Yeah,
highlight of this film, a big portion of it is all surrounded around these layoffs that are supposed to be coming,
yeah,
and they send people over from HR to talk to everybody and see who's worth keeping and who's not. I've been a part of some layoffs in
yeah.
my corporate career, and they are not fun. But they again, Mike Judge wrote this, right, directed it. He definitely has inside information on corporate life, like he's lived it
So
or had close friends that have complained about this, Tim, because this to me to this day holds up extremely well
it
just in
does.
terms of
I think so.
what corporate life looks like. Just the I would say the negative aspects of it, because there are positives of the corporate life, but this perfectly highlights all the negative aspects of it. It makes it funny though.
And then it takes basically the scam from Superman 3 and then implements it into this, which is so good, so brilliant. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good, and it has a satisfied ending. One of the things that does resonate for me is once the main character, Ron Livingston's character, has that therapy session that basically hypnotizes him not to care.
Mm-hmm.
I He does the things I think everyone wants to do that you would think that you probably would lose your job for
Oh,
doing,
100%.
but he gets promoted somehow, and so that is so real. That probably there's probably a chance that would happen to you
Mm-hmm.
if you did what he did, just because how messed up things can be on the corporate level. Um, but yeah, Office Space, can't recommend it enough. Not number one on my list though, and not number one on some of the lists that I researched for this. It was definitely on it, but the number one that I saw that's on mine, and I saw on a lot of people's list, I didn't think a lot of people even watched, Mike. 'Cause as we're going to the first one on my list, I guess technically the second one. But The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I just didn't think a lot of people saw this movie. Now this is the newer remake version. This is 2013 by Ben Stiller, because there was I think a movie I would say is in the 50s, 60s that was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and this is what the movie is based on. So it is a remake. Um, but this one starring Ben Stiller, directed by Ben Stiller. Kristen Wiig is in this. Sean Penn is a small part, but a integral and cool part. Like Sean Penn's never been so cool in a movie as he was in this for me. Um, so basically, the idea behind it is that this kind of this not even kind of this meager guy who's good at his job, but he just has no confidence in himself and is very low key, non confrontational kind of guy. Walter Mitty, played by Ben Stiller, um, uh, has a very important. He works at a magazine, and there's a very important picture that's supposed to come, a negative that's supposed to come from this very well known and regarded photographer who Sean Penn plays. And he's the Bear Grylls type. He goes out in the wilderness and he gets all these really great photos. And Walter, who works for the magazine Life magazine, for those that know, um, he is like the quietly like one of the best print guys in the business. He preps the photos, he prepares them for the magazine, and in this photo that's supposed to be so important gets lost, and he doesn't know where it's at, or he loses it. I can't remember which. But basically, he's got to track down Sean Penn's character and try to get this negative or figure out what the meaning is behind kind of a mysterious note that Sean Penn's character has left for him. I know I'm being a little bit vague, but I don't want to give away exactly what happened.
No, just what you're describing is not what I thought this movie was based on what people have told me.
Yeah. Now, the biggest thing about the movie, probably that you're thinking of, is that Walter has a giant imagination, and that he imagines himself as a hero character in all different kind of scenarios, and he gets lost in his imagination. So he'll often wander off in his mind, and he's just staring blankly somewhere, but he's imagining this grand scene. And what Ben Stiller has done is he's kind of made us be a character in the movie of his mind. So when he goes off into his imagination, like being a hero or saving someone from a fire or being out, being an adventure in the Alps, we see it and see him as that character. But the people around Walter just see him kind of space out because he's imagining it. And he just imagines himself greater than he is. And the movie is about trying to connect the person that he wants to be in his mind to the person that he is, and kind of make them meet more. So for him in this meager life to take more chances, try more things, become the person that he always imagines himself to be.
Does he end up quitting his job after all this?
No.
So how does this?
And it connects with a lot of us. And here's why. Because he becomes like, he doesn't quit his job. I don't, it might not, I don't think he quits his job. Because it's the magazine's folding. It's like it's going to be the final. It's going to be the final
Okay.
issue.
Yeah.
So it's folding anyway. So he's not quitting his job. And I don't think that's not why people have it on their list. His job isn't the reason. His transformation from what appears to be this kind of mundane life, not just job, but life, into this adventure, adrenaline seeking type. I don't even want to say that like this ideal role model, but because it's really just him becoming the thing that he always wanted to be. And I think the whole idea behind the quitting the job thing is to blossom into the guy that never did, blossom into the thing that he wanted to be.
Okay.
And so many of us are caught in these jobs that seem like there's nothing there for us. It's mundane. We're in a routine or in a rut. And we watch someone like Walter Mitty go through this 2-hour experience on film anyway, of becoming an entirely different creature to be more like the man he wants to be and that other people admire, is a journey that I like a lot of us wish that we could take.
So in the film, is the catalyst for that journey him knowing that the publication is going to fold?
I know it's the pressure of. I think it's more of the pressure of this is the perfect picture.
Oh.
That Sean Penn's character says this picture is this is the perfect cover for the final issue, and then his job is to get that negative and prep it to go to be printed.
So it's the journey to get the negative.
Because the negative's missing.
It's
He can't find
right,
it.
Right.
He didn't know where it is.
Okay.
So he has to track down Sean Penn to go find. Hey, dude, you didn't include the negative that you told me. This number negative would be perfect for the cover, but it's not here.
So even though Walter Mitty has a vivid imagination, he physically has to go track this guy down.
And in order to do so, he has to, like, this guy is traveling all over the world. So Walter,
Sean Penn character.
Yeah, Sean Penn is. So Walter has to be like on his heel. He's on his heels, but never can quite seem to catch up.
Okay.
To the point where, like, one of the more memorable scenes for me in this movie, I think for a lot of people, is that he has to go to Iceland, and in order to travel, he ends up where he needs to go down this very long, winding road, and in order to do so, he uses a longboard to go do that. And I think a lot of people connect with that, because it's just open. It's the open beauty of Iceland. It's this long, winding road, and he is just skateboarding basically down this road, and it just looks like the most freeing, awesome thing ever. And then there's a volcano that's also exploding on this island at the same time near him.
Okay.
Very volcanic place. And so there's just a lot of stuff going on, and he has to jump out of a helicopter at one point. And he really, once he catches up with Sean Penn, there's kind of Sean Penn's character. So
don't spoil it because I actually want to see this.
It's a realization of kind of like we talk about for us, one for them, one for us, and that movie defines that. I will say that.
Oh,
The movie.
that's a great tease, man. I want to see it now. I kind of want to end the podcast now so I can go home and watch it.
So now this movie again, not about quitting the job, but it makes you want to quit the job, and I think why it resonates so much is number one on so many other people's lists because it inspires you to want to do more and to get out of the rut that you're in. That's the reason it's on number one.
All right, that was excellent. That was fantastic.
Cool. Thank you. Go see it. Yeah, go see it.
Well, the next one on my list, we're gonna go back to corporate culture, as I call it, with Wanted.
That's on my list too.
Is it? And the very first thing I thought of when I picked this movie for the list
Yeah.
is the image that's seared to my brain of James McAvoy slapping Chris Pratt's face with his laptop,
Yes.
and then the letters of FUCK come across on the keyboard.
YOU.
Keyboard, not laptop. U.
Yeah, yeah.
And at my current job, I don't have any beef with any of my coworkers, but I've had past corporate
Especially
jobs.
us.
Yeah, I've had past corporate jobs where there were people I would love to have hit with my keyboard as a way to quit. Because here's the thing. Over the years, I've talked to different people, and one of my bucket list goals is to quit in such a way that I will forever be remembered by that company. I think something similar to what James McAvoy does in this movie, in that scene, makes him iconic. He'll forever be remembered in the zeitgeist of that company as that employee who did this to that guy.
I mean, yeah, if it definitely, I don't know if you'd go to jail.
That's
definitely
the only thing. It's
definitely an assault
yeah,
charge.
that's a felony charge you're
There's
catching.
going to be some court time.
But the thing is, it's not just about the fact that he quits in such a fashion that stands out. It's also there's a reason for it. Right after he goes outside, Angelina Jolie's character is waiting for him, and that's when his life really takes off. And he goes from this mundane office worker in a cubicle that has anxiety and can't stand the lady next to him and her voice, and she's always belittling him. He goes
Janice.
on, yeah, Janice. You remember the name? Great, that's a name. Yeah. He goes on to become like this super spy that can curve bullets and defy the laws of
It almost
time.
feels like two separate films to me.
Does it?
The pre Angelina Jolie and the post Angelina.
Oh, okay. You talking about her actors?
Right, because his life is so well depicted. Of the how I don't know,
Empty.
kind of what a sad figure that he
Yeah.
is. Like, he has no money in the bank. They really like, highlight that at the ATM.
Yeah, they do.
Janice and that stapler that just right in your ear. She's clearly that she has some issues that she's taking out on everyone else around her. And then when he turns on her, that is something I think we all connect
That's a
with.
great tirade he goes on for sure.
Yes. You know what, Janice? I feel sorry for you. And everyone here feels sorry for you. That's one of those. And if you've ever had one of those kind of bosses, I don't think I've ever had quite the Janice level, but you could easily see that. And I think the ones that I've had are more passive aggressive, so it's a little bit less obvious than what Janice makes it. But yeah, the explanation of his anxiety and why he has to take pills and how that all works out is really cool. I don't think there's been quite a movie like this one because it's definitely an assassin movie, but it has first of all, it has this was made in 2008. It has a very 2000-y feel to it. To me, it has a 2008 feel.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, remember, it starts off with this really special effects laden assassin who we think is his father.
Yeah.
Feels very Matrixy. You know what I mean? And then it goes into this. You don't know if it's a superhero movie or what it is at the beginning of it, and then it goes on with you don't know why this guy's connected to it and how that connects. So there's a little bit you would think as disjointed it is, it might make for a bad watch, but it's not. It actually really works really well. And again, the post Jolie, like once you see Angelina Jolie for the first time in this movie, that's just like you've been building up for the roller coaster ride this whole time. So you've been going uphill with this story, and then once she appears, it's just like a crazy loop-de-loops and everything else.
Well, for me, the reason why I put this on the list is there's that moment right after he goes off on Janice and hits Chris Pratt. I can't think of his name. Chris Pratt's character with the keyboard is he goes outside. He doesn't know that she's out there waiting for him, but you can see he feels liberated. And she's out there. She's dressed in all black. She looks cool. She looks sleek. Yeah. She pulls up in this Corvette, and he gets in the passenger seat with her. She's driving off, and the look of elation on his face is so visible. Mm-hmm. And he finds these shades, he puts them on, he puts the window down, and you can see his anxiety is going away. And it's just like this excitement. It's like that brief moment of when you quit your job on your terms. You do have that feeling of freedom, like I can take on the world now. Like that moment for me is such an empowering moment because I've been there when I quit jobs that I absolutely hated, and it's just like I don't care what else happens. This is gonna be the happiest moment of my life. I just want to stay in it as long as I possibly can.
Yeah. I was about to say the same thing. I was going to say, haven't we all felt that? Like, even if you've given your 2 weeks notice and at the end of that 2 weeks and you walk out that door, that elation that you feel, you never have to come back here again. You never have to, you're like, this is it. This is the last time I'll walk out of this place.
Yep.
Voluntarily, I guess. I don't know. Or like not having, like, maybe I'll come back to pick up a paycheck or something, but I don't have to voluntarily. Like, I don't have to come back and clock in. You know what I mean? That's the feeling. Like, that's it. All right. Like, it's just like your race is finished. It's the finish line of that particular thing. And it could be argued that, when he walks out, he's a different person. But then I remember the shooting the wings off fly scene, and he's still that same guy. He hadn't made that complete transformation yet.
Yeah.
So I think that was just post job firing or quitting euphoria.
Yeah,
that he
it was
felt.
for sure.
And I think we all can connect with that. Okay, so I'm gonna take it back now to more of my inspirational idea about quitting a job, and into this movie that is also from the same year, 2008. This one starred Jim Carrey and Zoe Deschanel. Bradley Cooper, surprisingly, is in this movie as well, and it's called Yes Man.
I love the Yes
from
Man.
2008.
Yes Man, Yes Man.
Hey, this was directed by Peyton Reed, who did the Ant-Man movie as well, and he's done something else recently. And I'm missing. It was a bigger movie too. Was it the? No, I had to think about that. He did something recently, but yeah. So Yes Man from 2008. Jim Carrey, obviously. This is a man who typically says no to everything, and he goes to like this spiritual conference, and their whole idea is to say yes to everything. So he takes this to the nth degree, and he just says yes to literally anyone and everything that asks him to do something.
Well, isn't the goal like you say yes to everything because it's supposed to bring you true enlightenment and open your potential up to anything you want to be?
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, and I said yes. Now, by the end of the movie, they do say that's just the first step, and that you really unlock it when you want to say yes. But so initially saying yes to everything helps to open you up.
Right.
Well, boy, did it. I mean, he had to sign up for everything. Look, once his friends found out about this whole thing that he was doing, they so took advantage of him. Like, one friend was like, all right, they made him do a bump of hot sauce. Yep. They made him do that over and over again. They made him buy drinks for them. One of the guys was getting married, and the woman didn't get along well with Jim Carrey's character. And Jim had done something to his, but he didn't show up for something because he said no to everything. And then his friend made him throw a wedding shower for the woman because he has to say yes. He said yes to taking flight lessons, said yes to taking Korean. He said yes to learning guitar. And all of that all comes back in the movie to help him out in some way. And then by saying yes, he you would assume is the love of his life, but he finds a new love interest, let's just say, in Zoe Deschanel. Who knows if they end up together long term or not? I think we're hinted at that. But basically saying yes opened up all this stuff in his life. Now, it doesn't make you want to quit your job because he keeps his job. In fact, he's a loan officer at a bank, and he says yes to so many people. They said that the average a month for his job he approves the loans or disapproves the loans, is 25 to 30 a month. That's the typical loan officer. And once he started doing this program, it jumped to him for over 500 in a
Yep.
month.
Yep.
He thought he was going to get fired for it. Ends up they gave him a promotion for it because these people were all so grateful to have loans and having their needs met, as they defined it, that they were all repaying it like a 98% percentile. So they actually gave him a raise for saying yes. So he's having all these awesome things for saying yes, and then it flips a bit on him, and he doesn't want to say yes to moving in with the new girl that Zoe Deschanel's character, kind of balks at doing that, and then it like uh, he thinks there's a curse on him basically, and he's trying to get the curse taken off of him. All that being said, this is another one of those inspirational type quit my job choices on this list. Saying yes, while a lot of us say no to a lot of things. Maybe if we were more open to life's possibilities, maybe we would not only experience more of what life has to offer outside of our own little boxes or outside of our own little bubbles, but it could lead us to people that could be, make our lives better or put us in better situations. At the very least, it seems like it would give you more knowledge and learn more things and maybe open yourself up to more experiences. I think we can all relate to that part of it. I think we all feel, unless you're just already living your life to the max in that way, that we all kind of feel like our lives get into a rut and that we need to say yes to more things than we do.
Yep. 100% agree.
And that also includes maybe advancing our career in directions we really feel like we should go, but we're just so comfortable in what we do now. We don't want to look past what we have because what we have is good, or we want to maintain this, and we're so worried about losing that we're not really wanting to do steps to win.
Well said.
Boom, boom.
Well said. We're gonna move on to a place that has a place in my heart forever, which is Circuit City.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I've never heard this before.
Yeah, no, Circuit City. There's like it's like it's a moment
It
in
was.
time. Yeah,
It was. Because there's no Circuit Cities
there's a
anymore, right?
moment in time. You're right. That was ingrained forever in my memory because that was it was back when you had to go to your Circuit Cities and your Best Buys and I guess your WalMarts.
Was that your spot? Was that your electronic spot?
It was. I would go in there only because it was like stepping in another country.
Okay, explain.
And this may take a little. This may be a weird veer to the left pivot, but
Well, this is why we're here. This
Yeah,
is why everybody
so-
at home is here.
if you're familiar with what Circuit City was and what kind of business it was, it's very much. It basically is a Best Buy.
Yeah.
You can go in there. You can buy electronics. You can buy movies, DVDs, video games, consoles.
What are DVDs? People
Yeah.
in the audience are asking.
I don't think they. I think they ended before Blu-ray. I think even was a thing. Yeah.
Oh,
I
I don't know. They do. I think they were around.
Early
They
on.
were around.
Okay, but it just I'd never really understood why they didn't make it.
Oh,
Other than the fact that I guess they were just trying to they were basically Best Buy, and Best Buy was just better for some reason.
I just
Best-
never went.
Here's the thing, it's a Bloods and Crips thing.
What?
Best Buy blue, right?
Okay.
Circuit City was red.
Okay.
It's Bloods and Crips,
All right.
and we're making a game related. No,
Gang related,
no.
gang related.
Best Buy had a better presentation of their products to me.
Yeah.
Even to this day, Circuit City just seemed very much like a Mod Podge of the same things that Best Buy sold. Best Buy just did it better, and they were bigger. They just went big. Circuit City was pretty basic. It was like, yeah, we got some CDs. The other thing too is they were always overpriced.
Well,
There's-
they're both overpriced.
No, but they're both overpriced. But Circuit City was even more overpriced because me and my friend would go there sometimes just to see what it's about, and then we go to Best Buy and find the same video game or movie like $3 or $4 cheaper. So I guess you kind of can see now maybe why they went bankrupt and are now non-existent.
Makes sense.
But this is a long roundabout way for me to say that this movie on my list makes me think of Circuit City and the types of products they sold. This is the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Now it's on the list because the place that these guys worked at looked like a Circuit City.
Yeah.
Like a much smaller, condensed version of a Best Buy. Best Buy spread out. They have room in all the aisles. Circuit City seemed a little congested. This video store looks kind of like a Don's TV and appliances almost.
Okay, that's a very local reference that he's making on the podcast. But basically, just think of a mom and pop TV
Okay,
shop,
fine.
maybe an electronics store. That's kind of what he's talking about.
Not we won't take a shot at Don's, but if you
That's fine.
this
Talk about overpriced.
100%, hey, I like it. But in the movie 40-year-old version, all these guys, Seth Rogen and Steve Carell, and I think even what's his name, Ant-Man. You talk about Ant-Man.
Oh, Paul Rudd.
All these guys work at this video store, this mom and pop video store,
Yeah.
and but they seem to have so much fun, like ragging on each other, especially Steve Carell's character because he's a 40-year-old virgin, and it made me think. I wish I could quit the job I have now, jump into a time machine, and go back to when I used to work at a store around people, younger people. I used to work at Michael's. Some people know this, some people don't.
Oh my God. We were making some references.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't know how they're still open. But anyway,
Michael's is like an arts and
crafts store. It's strictly for the grandmas that love to quilt.
And going strong, they're always going to be those.
Always. And then the back to school rush, kids need paint, school supplies, pencils, sketch pads.
Yeah.
Oh, we used to get a huge rush for back to school back in the day. Maybe not so much anymore, but that was a long time ago. That's 25 years ago.
So now the thought behind it, why Circuit City even came up on this list, is that it was a place that you idolized or idealized as a great place to work.
Well, a great place to work because the people you worked with made it fun.
Oh.
And for me, when I had two stints at Michael's, like I did jail time, 2 stints. My first
I was sentenced to Michael's.
My first bid at Michael's was a 2.5 years, and I think I was like 19 at the time. So everybody I worked with was just as miserable as me, all the same age as me. We're just trying to get life experience because that's what you do at that age. You get some whatever rinky-dink job that's hiring for what minimum
Trying
wage.
to get gas money, man.
That's what I'm saying. Just so you're getting like 10, 15 hours a week. You didn't really care, just making money.
Yeah, just an extra side.
But the thing what made it fun is all the people you worked with were all poor like you, and we all just you could find ways to make a mundane job like that boring.
Yeah.
Where you're constantly dealing with grandmas who are mad because you put the quilts that they're looking for is in the wrong. It's overpriced, or they didn't have it. So we send them to Hobby Lobby. Go to Hobby Lobby. We don't care. But I had so much fun with
reference.
Hey, I'm dropping names today. But we had so much fun with that first group, that core. We actually ended up hanging out outside of work.
That's always the best.
And there actually ended up being like 10 or 11 of us in the different departments.
Wait a minute, but even your current job, you hang out with guys there. I think
I don't hang out with anybody from my current job. Nope.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I thought you did. I
have a strict rule.
Is that pre-pandemic? Because you used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you used to go out to the clubs with them, right?
Yeah, pre-pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But since I got in the corporate arena, I don't hang out with those people.
Oh.
No, I didn't say there's anything wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with just y'all ain't hang out worthy.
No,
I mean, if you were hang out worthy.
No, my thing is I don't
Maybe
like traveling. I don't like dealing with traffic.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people I work with now are older. They have kids and they have wives, and for me, I like to do my own thing. I like to go to the movies and have a blast. A lot of them have other things going on.
Are you mellowing out in your older age? Is that what's happening?
I think I'm actually the opposite. Like I'm starting to be a little more like the things I don't like, the things I hate. I hate the traffic. I hate dealing with people. I hate going to the office. I hate the summer. Yeah. So it's just a lot of hate in me now. But no, this movie kind of bring it back full circle. It's about the place because the way the characters acted, how they seem like they made a mundane job fun to be around because of the dynamic within the coworkers. And it made me think, man, I wish I could go back to 99, 2000 when I was at Michael's with my core when we used to hang out outside of work and just we would all rag on each other and joke and this and that. And it made it something to look forward to when you went to work. You look at the schedule and say, is my boy working today? Oh, he is. We're going to have a blast today.
All right. So because it made work feel like fun.
Yeah.
It made it feel like part of the, you still had to do what you needed to do.
Yeah.
But you could kind of have fun and joke around while doing it.
If your friends were on the same shift as you. Now, if there were some times that they didn't, I'll never forget seeing my boys walking out as I'm going in. I was like, oh, they worked their shift over there. So that was going to be a long night.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, so gave you something to look. You see the schedule come out every week. You see the days you guys are gonna have the same schedule. You
Yeah.
look forward to that day, for sure.
So 40-Year-Old Virgin
40-Year-Old Virgin
is the movie.
Nothing to do with the actual plot of the movie, but even though it is funny, check it out for sure.
All right, so next one on my list is going to be a movie from 1990, and it stars Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Lloyd Bridges and Robert Stack are in this movie too. Lloyd Bridges and Robert Stack, you might know them from the movie Airplane. Had some really hilarious parts in that. But this movie is called Joe versus the Volcano. And this is the idea behind this movie. It opens up with Tom Hanks working what is a dramatic over I don't know, I guess kind of almost a fairy tale type storytelling of his mundane job. It shows him at the very beginning of the movie. It shows him having to walk into what is this what looks like a factory, but it's just this miserable looking place, and this weird zigzag of a kind of a sidewalk. Imagine if Tim Burton created a dark workplace, and that's what this is. So it's over. I don't know. It's over saturated. It's kind of like it's dark, depressing, and it's just a dramatization of what a bad job is. And Tom Hanks, he goes into this workplace, and the lighting is so bad in this place that it makes you feel sick. That's how bad this place is. And things break while he's in there, and everyone in there is super depressed. It like just all the worst aspects of working in a place you don't want to be, or you feel like it's killing you, turned up to 11. And so this automatically, when you see this, you're like, yeah, I connect with this in a way that's probably all the negative aspects of work, and I want to just quit and go do something else. Now, that's why this is on this list. Why you should watch the movie is the plot behind this movie is that this character goes to a doctor's appointment, finds out from the doctor that he has an incurable disease, and he has only a few weeks to live, if I remember correctly. It's either months or weeks. And he has nothing. He got kind of his life. He has this mundane job, and he has nothing else to live for, really. So he has no hope, kind of an idea, until this mysterious man shows up at his door and offers him an opportunity to make his life worth something. And what that opportunity is this rich billionaire man has to appease these people on an island, a tribe of people on an island, in order to extract the resources that he needs from this island. He's got to help them with a sacrifice that they must make to the volcano gods in their tradition, in order to, to appease this tribe. He's looking for someone to volunteer to jump into a volcano. And if he'll do it, because he's got this incurable disease, if he'll do it, he'll basically make the last few days of his life the most extravagant they could be. And it's going to be first class all the way. And then he's going to trip to basically the tropical island. And it's going to be, he's going to have, it's going to be his own personal yacht, kind of, that's going to take him out there. You remember this movie?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, never the whole thing.
Okay, because as I'm telling the story, Mike's nodding his head like he's remembering it. So.
There are certain parts you're discussing, and it's like, okay, I remember seeing that part. I don't remember seeing that part. So yeah.
Right. So anyway, I just recently watched the reaction to Big Fish, and this is it has aspects of Big Fish. And there's some tall tales that you have to swallow in this movie because it seems too good to be true, and it is. It's a movie, but it's kind of that.
But is the genre for this movie like fantasy?
It was weird, but I think partly yes.
Because hearing you describe it, it's like this sounds more like a fantasy than like a straight up drama or.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's any normal fantasy aspects in it. Okay. Thinking about what fantasy typically is defined as, I would say this is just a big tall tale, but it grounded more in reality. So It's like over exaggerated just a bit. Maybe is
Okay.
the way to put it.
And Meg Ryan's the love interest.
Meg Ryan actually plays like 3 or 4 different characters in this movie. So
Oh,
yeah, she's initially like a secretary that's kind of a mousy, and then she plays this really the billionaire's daughter, one of the two daughters. She plays like twins, I think. I think they're twins, and just she's kind of one way, and the other one's another way, and one's independent, and one's real into money. And
now is this now the her playing multiple roles?
yeah,
Is that a part of the plot of this movie? Is that a part of Tom's
I think
psychosis?
the idea behind it is that she's ultimately the woman that he falls in love with. So he sees her in
Okay.
every other woman.
Yeah, gotcha. I've been there.
I think that might be the idea. But with the two sisters, though, I think I mean, it would make sense if they're twins because they look just alike. And they play by the same character. No wonder they. But she also plays kind of a mousy secretary.
So her real character, the character Meg Ryan actually plays.
Yeah.
What is her actual role? Is she the secretary for real, or is she one of the twins?
No, it's 3 different characters.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's 3 different characters in the movie. They may be related. The two sisters. I just can't remember. I mean, they are related. The two sisters. I can't remember if they're twins or not. But yeah, But she's playing 3 unique individuals that could have been played by other people.
Okay.
Maybe it could be argued should have been, but I think again it falls into the tall tale fantasy aspect of it.
And when you saw it though, it wasn't confusing to you, or it
Uh,
wasn't that big of a deal to you.
no, I didn't see them about.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess if you didn't have a discerning eye, you couldn't even tell that she played the first one, or they were trying to make it where her makeup and her look is so different you wouldn't recognize her. But she's Meg Ryan. She's pretty
Now
recognizable.
the reason I bring this up, just sidebar.
Yeah, this is a big side.
Yeah, I just saw. Well, when this comes out, not really, but I saw the movie Saturday Night about the first
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
Loved, incredible movie, fantastic.
Okay.
When it comes out on streaming, I'll be watching it. But there's an actor named Nicholas Braun. He's from Succession. You've never seen
I
Succession?
have.
Okay, the tall cousin Greg, the kind of dorky looking cousin. Thank you. The dorky looking cousin, kind of goofy, very unsure of himself. Anyway, Nicholas Braun's the actor. In the film Saturday Night, he plays. This is not a spoiler. He plays Jim Henson, but he also plays Andy Kaufman. And the first time you see him as Andy Kaufman, you're like, wait a second, this is the same actor, just a different character. And then I was like, is this part of like the whole SNL thing? And then I read like that the writers they did that on purpose because they were like, well, why doesn't he can just play both characters? It was simple. It was no mastermind.
thought
It was
in it.
yeah. It was just this is what it is.
Maybe it is.
So that's why I was asking about the Meg Ryan character.
Again, I may be going too far in it and saying that if he just sees in every woman, he sees a little bit of what he's looking for,
Gotcha.
or vice versa. Like she's so prominent in his, she's just appearing everywhere, but he hadn't met her yet. So I don't know.
That was 1990.
1990.
My sister recently sent me a clip on Instagram. Like it was a clip of like different celebrities showing up for the 1990 Oscars, and one of the clips they showed was of Julia Roberts. Man, I forgot how attractive Julia Roberts was in 1990. That was like what a year before or the year of
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman, and she was. So most people were hung up on Cindy Crawford. After seeing that clip of her again, Julia Roberts was super fun.
Yeah, she was in an early episode of Miami Vice too.
She was, yep.
Back in the day. Yeah, so to go back with Joan versus the volcano, the reason this makes it on the list for me is it depicts a very over dramatic, desperate, terrible job situation. Makes you definitely want to quit a job like that. There's no, you would run if you had this job for any major length of time, you would run to go and jump into the volcano. I would imagine. But the reason to watch the movie is because it is a modern take on a tall tale. I would say like that, and it has a surprising ending that you don't see coming.
You said enough that makes me want to go back and watch it because I don't think I've seen the whole thing through.
Dude, I should be a salesman. I sell you on all
You
these.
do
movies.
sell me on a lot.
Now let's say that you aren't hard to sell on when it comes to movies. So.
Well, it's true because I love movies in general.
You do.
I'll see a lot of stuff.
Okay, so that was my choice. I said Joe versus the volcano. I think it's worth a watch if you're a modern take on Tall Tale. So, what about yours? What's next on your list?
I'm gonna go to college. I'm going back to college.
Should.
I mean, education is fundamental. Reading is fundamental.
Yeah.
and everything that college has to offer. Some of it's fundamental, some of it is a waste of time.
Yeah.
But
A lot of people would say the latter, probably.
yes, I would be in the
And
latter.
money.
I am the latter, and money. Yeah, don't go into debt. Don't go to college. Go back to the land.
Can't help it.
But this movie's old school.
Yo, yes.
I have a lot of comedies on this list today, which is rare because that's my least favorite genre.
I know, but I guess something about the quitting work aspect of it.
Quitting
you do
work,
enjoy.
yes, yeah, I do enjoy. Yeah.
Maybe this is your list and you don't even know it, man.
So the movies on this list. First of all, if you haven't seen it, it's a classic. I don't know how you haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, it's about three guys who are like disillusioned 30-year-olds
Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell.
and Luke Wilson,
There you go.
and they decide to go back to enroll in college to create their own fraternity.
Well, it's a housing thing.
Well, yeah,
Right.
yeah, but I
In
mean,
order to stay in the house that he just got
that's
in,
what it was. They have
to
to
like become. They come up with a creative solution.
because they have to be affiliated with the university.
It got rezoned because they had a huge party
That's
with
what it
Snoop
was.
Dogg
Thank
at
you.
it,
Yeah,
and it got rezoned. So became part of the college campus.
yes,
And so they needed a college reason to stay.
they did. So I mean, is there any other better idea than starting a fraternity? I don't think so.
Dude, I kind of wanna join that fraternity. Not even kind of.
And that's the reason I want to quit my job because I want to go back to college just to join a fraternity.
Dude, you never did.
So I never did, but in my college going years when I was probably too old to be in college. No, I was too old to be in college, for sure. I was
You're
like,
never too old. You're never too young. You never.
but one of my really good friends, he was actually a part of a fraternity at one of the local universities here in town, and we were tight. We hang out almost every weekend, and it got to the point where if he was going to a fraternity party, he would invite me, and I ended up knowing I got to meet some of his fraternity brothers, really good guys. Definitely not like what the typical depiction of a fraternity is. There's no like dangerous hazing. There's no excessive alcohol parties. Well, there were some. But the hazing, no, there was no hazing. There was nobody died or no mistreatment of the what do you call the people that are trying?
Yeah, I
to,
can imagine that still happening if it.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays.
too many high profile cases in the news about that, so they kind of toned that down. But these guys actually did a lot of solid work in the community, like community service. But the end joke between me and my friend was I was a friend of the fraternity. I'm not in the fraternity, but I'm a friend. So I'm like just one step down from being a part of it.
Yeah.
To the point where whenever I'd show up, they were like, "Oh, it's Mike. Mike is here." You know.
Man,
Everybody-
that was everywhere you go.
It
You
kinda
talk about
does.
out of
It's
just a
really
fraternity.
kinda
I mean,
weird.
you hate all of them, but they love you.
I don't know why I'm so lovable, man, but
I don't know it now. I'm starting to see it. Starting to be. I'm suspicious, but this is sus for sure.
but to the point where I don't think any of his frat brothers will hear this. He might hear it, which is fine.
Let me hear this.
At one point,
Let it go.
he actually taught me the secret brotherhood handshake.
Are you gonna show me?
I forgot it already, but it's like a big no.
See, he says he forgot it. He just don't want to show me.
Well, I can't give it to you.
I'm not a friend of. That's true. I'm not a
Right.
friend of the friend. I would be a friend of the fraternity. That's a whole nother handshake.
It is,
Yeah.
but I had a lot of good times at those parties. Met some cool people, guys and girls, and it's just a good time. It just made me think this is what my initial college experience should have been.
Oh, yeah.
Because initially, for me, in the beginning, it was just go to class and go home, go to
That's
class,
true.
go to work.
I wasn't part of one either. But I don't think. I don't know why. It was just not important to me, and it just. I don't know. It didn't appeal to me.
Yeah, see, it's for me, it was again we talked about the depiction of fraternities and how there's been like a stigma of hazing that's led to people's deaths. Pledges, they're called pledges. That's what it was. I couldn't think of the word pledges.
Fatal pledges.
Yeah, that's a great name for like a
Horror film.
ID series about
Oh, God.
fraternity. The people that went bad anyway.
The pledges go in, they don't come out.
Don't come out. Yeah, uh, we'll have to work on that.
Pledge forever. Something once you're in,
There you go.
you're in forever.
Yeah, once you pledge, it's for life. That's the tagline.
Don't be a friend of the fraternity. Be a friend of the friend. The
no.
secret handshake is a knife in the back.
Okay, let it go. We're good. We're moving on.
All right, go ahead.
It's for me the reason why I never really considered it was just like the depiction of what we thought fraternities were. It was like partying and drinking and the hazing. Like that just doesn't appeal. That didn't appeal to me at that time. And I mean the hazing part never did. And at that time I was actually in college. I wasn't into partying, drinking like that.
Wait, this must happen after Bad Mike.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, Mike had his Bad Mike period. I think it was more high schoolish, and he would go down a main street in our hometown. Well, not even near hometown, but home base. Home. You weren't born here, right? So it's not home.
But I claim it as home. Though. I've been here long
Okay,
enough. Yeah.
he go, and he was just a bad boy back in the day. You know what I mean? Like he didn't mess with the old Bad Mike. This is good. Y'all are getting prime Mike right now.
Yeah, man. I had the spirit of Tupac in me for sure. In those
But he must have been born again between high school and college because he said he's not, he didn't drink and party or nothing.
Sometimes you gotta let the old ways go, man.
You do.
To
You really
evolve
do.
and level up. Some of those things are holding you back.
I mean, we could be doing this. We could do the podcast from prison, so it could have been different. You could have been on the other back. That's like, you just want to do a podcast over the phone, Mike? Huh?
That is crazy, man.
How many minutes do you have left?
That would explain some of the noises you hear in the background.
Dude, I shouldn't even preclude myself. We might both be in prison. And I will say this, though. If we had to do this podcast in prison, you're the one sneaking all this equipment in. I ain't doing it.
All right, I know a guy. Mike and Mulley behind bars. Coming soon.
Okay, I just have questions about how it got in, but let's pass that up.
Yeah.
So, pledges.
Yes, pledges. But yeah, old school. Just I want to quit just so I can go back to college to join a fraternity. Boom.
There you go.
They had so much fun. Like you, my boy.
It did look like fun.
Man, like
It still looks like fun.
It does.
I know we're older, but I would join that fraternity today.
here's the thing. Why
Right
can't
now.
we make fraternities that? How come they have to be collegiate related? How come they can't just be whatever? They have
Old people?
Yeah. Well, we're not old, but just like
Speak for yourself.
an adult fraternity.
Speak for
you know?
yourself, young man.
We go around recruiting guys that just they want to belong. They didn't join a gang, and they're on the straight and narrow. Or that maybe they were the loners in high school and college, but they wanted to live that
You
life.
don't even need all that. Just
I want to give them that experience.
we're so socially or antisocial and isolated, I think.
I'm not.
Oh, that's true. You're not. Not fun, Mike. But no, I mean, everyone who isn't Mike, maybe, that is antisocial, that isn't welcomed in every establishment that he walks in with a, hey, Mike.
I will
or
put it- I
like
will put it
Norm
this way.
from Cheers.
I will put it this way: if you get enough alcohol in me, I definitely can become Frank the Tank. To this day, for sure.
You're saying that you will run naked in the
Well,
streets. if
I'm
you
not
get
gonna go
enough?
streaking in through the quad of the
I
gymnasium.
mean, you basically just
But I
said
mean,
you would do that.
No, the way he acted prior to that, when he was at the
You've
fair
got friends listening here that could potentially get you that drunk.
and coworkers. Whoops.
They could potentially get you over. I'm just saying. Don't do anything to disperse this podcast. Is basically what I'm trying to hear.
You're right. Let's just move on to the next.
The next on
movie
the list.
please. Yes.
So I've already hit my 5, but I will just mention 2 that I had on here. Like I like to have just a couple extras just in case you steal a couple of mine, which you have.
Yeah, but we discussed them together, so I'm probably gonna cut all this.
I'm just gonna say Clerks and Waiting, 2 movies.
I had waiting as well.
Okay, good. But Clerks, obviously, Kevin Smith's film that's black and white from '94, and just speaks about a day in the life of these two. Well, one gas station clerk, one video store clerk, which is very dated, but it's a very raunchy comedy, but one that really is amazing for how they made it, how cheaply they made it, and how popular it is. It was that same time when Richard Linklater got popular, and that's when Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, kind of were all coming up at that same time. So, and then Waiting. You want to talk about that? The early Ryan Reynolds.
Again, waiting is very similar to me, and as a 40-year-old virgin in terms of why it's on the list. It's just that you have this.
No, Mike is not a 40-year-old virgin. I'm just saying.
Oh,
He's just
no.
saying the movie 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
Okay.
With Steve Carell as a 40-year-old virgin.
You said as me.
Oh yeah,
me,
no.
Me as the 40-year-old
I
virgin.
did say that. I didn't catch it. My
I
bad.
think this Waiting film is.
Yeah, no. Good looking.
Really
out, man.
speaks to me
No, I have
because of my
I have waiting on the list
inability
as
to.
the same reason as I have 40-year-old virgin on the list.
Gotcha.
As far as you have this core ensemble group of characters, crazy, but then they hang out outside
Look,
of
dude,
it
if
as
you
well.
were, I'm not knocking you. It's okay. I mean, I know you're good.
I respect virgins. I do.
I mean, I know. I should have saw the signs, like 3 movies in one day. That should have told me something.
Well, that just says that I'm celibate. So that's what that says.
You got a lot of time on your hands. That's all it says.
All the time. You're right.
You're alone all the time. You're watching movies by yourself. I should be concerned, honestly. Actually, there might be some listeners that can help Mike out. Do you know somebody or no? I ain't doing that.
I got a couple of names. I ain't gonna say them on here.
No, please. We've done that already. That's yeah. Nixnay, Ixnay on the Uxnay. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
But no, Waiting. It's a film about a group of restaurant employees who
Worked at a fake Bennigan's. They call it shenanigans.
no shenanigans. I don't know. Does Bennigan's even exist anymore?
No. But they had some. They had the best Monte Cristo I've ever had in my life.
That was me too. I never had a Monte Cristo until I had one at Bennigan's.
Same.
It was amazing. It was the best thing they had.
The best
Although
thing.
the sweetness of, like, I can never get the idea of
that-
putting sweet and ham.
It was like that raspberry dip.
Yeah.
I always omitted that. So you can keep that in the kitchen.
No, that was fire, but it's hard to replicate and hard to justify in anything else. I'm gonna tell you that.
Good point.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you got a ham sandwich? Would you like some strawberry jam with that? Like, why would I put ham and jam together?
Hey,
but it
man.
worked in that Monte Cristo.
It did.
So if we don't have a Bennigan's again, and people don't know what a Bennigan's is, what's a kind of a current restaurant that is like it? Is it TGI Fridays, which I don't even know if those are a
There's
thing
a couple
anymore?
of those still hanging around too. I saw one in Dallas maybe a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I almost pulled in because they used to have this Jack Daniels burger that I used to love, and they also had this cheesy chicken skillet. Like
We're just gonna go over menu.
I mean, you know,
Okay,
we're off the rails this episode. You know, my bad.
Shenanigans was kind of a Bennigan's. Then in a previous movie that we mentioned here, Office Space, Jennifer Aniston works at a what?
Oh, that's based on a Bennigan's too, I think. Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
I forget what the name. It was. I know she had to wear a lot of flair. I know that.
37 pieces of flair, baby.
She
Yeah.
only had the minimum of
She
15.
had the minimum. That was me. I was always the minimum amount
Yeah,
of
dude,
pieces.
me too.
I'm not
I'm a
doing
minimum
extra,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah. But this dude's got 37 and a great smile. That's what he
Yeah,
said.
yeah, great smile. Yeah, yeah. It's especially like TGI Fridays or
Yeah.
Applebee's.
Applebee's,
Like cheap
Chili's,
special.
Chili's type.
Yeah, Chili's. Yeah.
I think I saw it in your eye right there when I said Chili's. You did not agree with me comparing that restaurant to Chili's because Chili's holds some kind of a special place in your heart or something. You think of it as something else.
I got a couple of stories from Chili's. I'm not gonna say them on there though. All right.
Some of those baby back ribs, right? Okay, cool. All
Whatever
right.
you think it was.
He's got some sexy stories when it comes to Chili's.
You are spinning a narrative, and I'm not gonna buy into it.
That's all right. You are the editor. You can edit all that out if you want to.
Leaving it all in.
So waiting is an interesting look, kind of a gross,
Not kind of. Ooh, man.
very gross look at. You talked about earlier. You talked about Circuit City and working with a group of people that you enjoy, and that is this movie to a T, like to the nth degree. I've said that twice because it means it. But waiting is not about the waiting on people. It's about the group and their shenanigans against each other.
Yeah,
really,
it is.
the
chicken
show,
wing.
the show game, basically, where they show parts of themselves to try to surprise you.
Yep.
Dane Cook, surprisingly good. I thought. I think that might be his movie debut or it's close. It's an early Dane Cook thing there. Obviously, a young Ryan Reynolds is in that doing his Deadpool thing already.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the beginning of it. It's still more Van Wilder-ish.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what Van Wilder is too.
Yeah.
They're definitely Van Wilder-ish. Anna Faris is in the movie. There's a lot of recognizable faces.
One of my favorite characters in that movie is played by Luis Guzman.
Yeah,
Oh, also
the goat.
what's his name? Justin Long.
There's in law.
And there's a bunch of people
Yeah.
in there you'd
There
recognize.
is. But yeah, I think we all know to be very careful with the people that prepare our food for us.
Oh, yeah,
and this will cement that lesson in your mind.
Yeah, there's definitely etiquette that this movie has taught me about how to conduct yourself in a food establishment.
Yeah, and being very respectful.
Yes.
Yeah, and so let's say this. Let's just leave it with this with the waiting. If you're gonna watch this movie, this is from 2005. It is very much a raunchy comedy, so just be prepared for that. If you love that, you'd probably love this. But it is there's a certain gross factor, and arguably, one of the most underrated ending scenes ever. Mm-hmm. Like when the guy who's trying to get a word in the entire time who can't, actually speaks his piece and then shows them all up in a way that he impresses them all is pretty cool.
It's a recommend for me. I love that movie. It's hilarious.
And I came out with a sequel too.
Didn't see it. Wasn't gonna see
I
it.
think it's past.
Yeah.
Is there any other that are on your list, or that completes it?
That was it.
Wow. All right. So we had a lot of crossover on our two lists. What's on your list there at home? We are always asking this, and we're finally really starting to get some not only other people's lists, but some recommendations we've got recently
We
for some
are,
lists. I
yeah.
think we might have to steal a couple of those. I mean, they offered them up, but I mean, we might have to. Those are some good ideas.
Yeah.
We might have to. You might see that. I would bank on seeing those ideas on some future episodes. So I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, especially if you're listening for the first time. First of all, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. This is born out of me and Mike's friendship. That we met for many years doing this exact same thing without recording it.
You're going back to this outro?
No, I'm just saying.
You started out with the first few episodes we released. You started the outro with that, and then you stopped for a while. I was like, okay, we got it, and then you're back to it again.
I just in that moment, I was thinking that there were maybe some people who, this is the first one they hear.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking,
yeah,
let me
that's true.
just recap that we were friends, but I guess F all that, right?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
All right, so you know what this is.
I stepped on your toes. I'm sorry. I
It's okay.
apologize.
You know what this is. We're going over top 10 lists. We're talking movies. Who cares about our friendship? I hear you at home. No, but look,
There's a first time listener that hates me now because
no.
They do for sure.
No. He could feel our friendship through this. Our friendship goes, it oozes through the microphone. We're good.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
I mean, I would never use you and ooze in the same sentence.
I mean, yeah.
That seemed to work. My main point, if I had one, was that thanks for interacting with us. We encourage interacting. Please, if you're listening to this podcast, have your own list. Have your own take of movies that made you want to quit your job that we didn't list on here, or even the ones that we did. If you want to go more in depth about why, please let us know. We can't solve your problems, but we'll certainly listen to them as we air ours to you on these lists.
Nice.
On a weekly basis. So far, weekly anyway. Yes, so we are available on a lot of different social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Mike. Some exciting news. We hit a new milestone on X, on Twitter. We are now over 100 followers.
What? That's what I'm talking about.
100 followers. I know it's not a big number to a lot of people, but look, me and Mike have zero expectations for this podcast outside of us just recording our friendship and our friendly conversation about movies and passionate conversation about it in a little bit more of a structured form than we used to. So to have 100 people following us on social media, it's great when you didn't expect anybody to
That's
really,
crazy, man.
Wow. Baby steps. And look, that's the thing. We'd be doing this anyway. So we'd be talking movies no matter what, and be meeting, having lunch like we normally do anyway. You're just along for the ride. So if you'd like to continue to come along the ride with us, we'd appreciate that. Obviously, we're available on a lot of different streaming formats, and hopefully the one that you found is your favorite, and you can continue to listen to us and giving us your input. So thank you for those that do listen and that do feedback and let us know, their thoughts. And it's been a growing number of really nice replies that we've been getting, and it gives us, like I've said it before, you are the gas to our motor. So if you guys give us inspiration, it makes our motor run and go longer. So thank you so much. Mike, how do we end this one?
Y'all, please don't spam my email and
Wait a minute. But this beautiful, eloquent,
and it was
say, come on, we want to hear.
it was well worded.
You,
You are a great man of words.
back from you.
But I got to get this part out too because you can't have the yin without the gang, right?
Mike is like, let me respond to that. Don't send me anything.
No, but you're gonna understand it because don't spam me my personal email with the ways you can help expand our podcast and reach more viewers. Don't message the Mike and Mulley Messenger group chat spamming us, telling us how you can charge us to help us grow our platform.
Oh yeah,
We're gonna do that organically, and we have been because Mulley just talked about that. And we are doing just fine without the help of anyone trying to spam and scam us.
Dude, we're getting I'm surprised we're both getting.
Yeah, no, I got it in my personal email,
Oh.
and it was 3 back-to-back emails from the same person. And of
Yeah.
course, I knew it was spam. And then I went to the person's profile.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
Go ahead.
the picture on the profile
Yeah.
looked like he was Cambodian. I know Cambodian, so I can say that.
Yeah.
But then his original profile picture from like 6 months ago was a white guy in glasses.
Hey, I don't. You got to appreciate the hustle. You know what I mean? Like whatever picture you got to present in order to get the business, I get it. No, but I've had the same thing. I usually just block and I just keep going.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, just block.
After I did my due diligence, because if he was legit,
Yeah.
I might have said, well, let me talk to Mulley about this first. But I did my research.
Hey,
I was on my FBI squad.
You want to try to scam us? You want to try to get in my pants? You're going to have to do a little bit more than what these guys are doing. You're going to have to really get sneaky if you want to try to scam me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't actually. And
you want to get in these DMs? You know what I'm talking about?
I really want to end the episode now.
I think we should. Thank you again. Thanks for listening to the Top 10 Movie Podcast with Mike and Mulley. I'm Mulley. He's Mike. And we appreciate you. Thank you. We out.
Much love. Peace.